Is DeMar DeRozan back on the table? Well, he might be, because there is a rumor out there that a Caleb Martin for DeMar DeRozan sign-in trade could be in play for Miami. We're going to break it all down here in just a bit. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because we are going to have you covered on everything surrounding the Miami Heat. And as you know, we are on a July sub battle against Knicks now. We got out to an early 11 subscriber lead, but they have re-jumped us and they lead by 15. Hit that sub button, because we have you covered on everything surrounding the Miami Heat. And I want to beat the New York Knicks in our July sub battle. All right, here is the Jake Fischer report as he was on a podcast for Yahoo Sports. He said, DeMar DeRozan is arguably the biggest piece still on the board. There's definitely been some talk of a potential double sign-in trade of him to Miami and Caleb Martin back to Chicago. I have not gotten that confirmed as a serious thing that's being discussed right now, but people in the league have definitely talked about it. If I'm just going to be transparent with all of you at home, I don't even know how this would work financially. I'm pretty sure that Miami would still have to trade away one of Herro or Rozier for this to work, but it is fascinating to see Jake Fischer, who has his moments of good reporting and bad moments of bad reporting. If you know, has something to do with the Heat's pick in this last NBA draft. But I don't really know how this would be feasible for Miami's side. Chicago could do it because they have the cap space to do this type of sign and trade, but Miami can't do that, and I just don't know if it would even be worth it for Miami. And that's kind of my entire thing here. It's I wouldn't count on it if you're at home. If you're hoping DeMar DeRozan becomes a Miami Heat basketball player, I would not count on a sign and trade with Caleb Martin going to Chicago as it, because that would be a lot of hoops to jump through, and I don't think they would do that to acquire a guy like DeMar DeRozan. Sure, he is one of the better scorers in the NBA and one of the best fourth quarter players. And I know us fans are starved for the Heat to do something because they've failed to do so. But I just don't think DeMar DeRozan is the guy they are going to move heaven and earth to be able to acquire. Think about over the past, 5 years of all the players that have shook free potentially that the Heat could have went out and traded for. James Harden in 2020, KD in 22, D-Mitch in 22, Dame last year. The list goes on and on as players that they could have made a move for, but ultimately did not offer the house or could not go out and get. So to me, the idea of the Heat trading away Herro or Rozier to shed salary and then to sign DeRozan, or doing a complicated sign and trade to acquire DeRozan, just doesn't feel like a move this front office would make. Now, if they are able to trade Herro or Rozier away to a third team, take a first-round pick back, and then just sign DeRozan outright because they're below the first apron, I'm fine with that move, because even though it's a lateral move, you do acquire a first-round pick, hypothetically, and you get another really good scorer on a cheap contract, because it wouldn't be more than $20 million. So I would be in on one of these moves. I just don't think it's very likely, and if I know anything about this front office, this is all the speculation, and nothing's going to actually happen with DeMar DeRozan. Let me know your thoughts. Have you given up on DeMar DeRozan? Not given up on him as a player, but given up on the idea of him coming to the 305 and joining Jimmy and Bam. Let me know your thoughts down below. I have. Simple as that. I do not think DeMar DeRozan is coming to Miami. I'm going to talk about reports and rumors out there like this one today because that's my job, but I do not actually believe Miami is going to get DeMar DeRozan to the Heat. The only way it feels like Pat Riley wants to get DeRozan is if he would take an unbelievable cheap $5 million contract on the taxpayer mid-level, which that's not going to happen. So if he's just hoping and wanting to acquire DeRozan that way, then it's not going to happen, because if he wants him, he's going to have to trade away one of the guards, and maybe he'd be willing to do that, maybe not, but I've got my hopes down pretty much. I will say this, though, around Miami, is that they haven't been very quiet, or, wait, did I say that right? They have not been quiet. That sounds right. Okay, back and moving here. We got frustrated by them in the beginning of free agency because there's nothing happening. But yesterday, Alec Burks, Thomas Bryant, and since then, there has been rumors around them consistently. Barry Jackson with this new report, if you will, saying that according to 3 people who have had contact with the Heat, Miami wants to maintain flexibility with that space in case an opportunity to add a high-level player becomes available. There have been heat trade discussions with teams, including one with substantial cap space, though further details are unclear. One of the sources said Miami also wants to see what good players become available in the trade market in the days and weeks ahead. Two main takeaways from that report from Barry Jackson. One, why are the Heat always waiting in hopes of some player coming available via the trade market? Now, on the off chance that it works and a player does get traded in 2 weeks or becomes available, and Miami's one of the only teams that can make a move because they didn't do anything now, sure, it works out. But if anything has taught us anything from the last 5 seasons, that line of thinking for Miami has been nothing but horrible because it has not worked, and it's led them to get outbeat on other players, like a Bradley Beal, like a Kristaps Porzingis. Not that they showed interest in those type of guys, but trades that didn't cost a lot to get those players that could have been made by Miami if they jumped in there instead of waiting. Now, there is also revisionist history. Beal obviously is a good probably decision. Porzingis would have been great in Miami, but that's not the point. Number 2 on the takeaway list. When Barry said they've had trade talks, one including a team with substantial cap space, even though it's unclear, according to Barry, it's pretty easy to figure out who the team is that they're talking to. And it's one of these 3. Because if he's serious about substantial cap space, there aren't too many teams out there that have a shit ton of cap space. These are the 3. Detroit, Utah, and San Antonio. The Pistons, and I'm looking at Spotrac's salary cap. Everyone's at a different spot, but they project projected practical cap space that can actually be used. This is the order: Detroit with 33 mil, Utah with 31, and San Antonio with 16. The next highest is Orlando with 8 million, but we'll talk about these 3 teams because there is one thing that they all have in common. Let me know what you think that one thing in common I'm talking about. We're about to bring it up here in just a second, but there is something here that you could compare and link these 3 teams to. How about this man right here, Tyler Herro? And what do I mean by that? Well, Utah and San Antonio on that list, they have had reported interest in Tyler Herro in the past. What's the connection with Detroit? Herro could arguably be the best fit for Detroit personally because they need shooting and they need a scoring 2-guard alongside Cade Cunningham. Well, Herro would fit perfectly into that lineup and connect Cade and Herro in the backcourt to Ausar Thompson, Jaden Ivey, and Tobias Harris. Jaden Ivey, Ausar Thompson, Ron Holland, and Tobias Harris in the front court with Jalen Duren. So Herro is a piece that could go to each of those 3 teams. And I think it's become more and more clear to me. And I think I want this. I think most of you want this at home. But to me, it feels like Tyler Herro has played his last game for the Miami Heat. I do. I really believe that Herro's tenure in the 305 might be up. Was the liking of the tweets the other day the last straw? Maybe. But I do think Herro's days in Miami are numbered. More to talk about here with Tyler, but as we said off the top, make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we have you covered with a video at bare minimum every single day. We had 3 videos go out on Wednesday because when news drop, we get you covered. So hit that sub button. We're almost halfway there to 13K. Appreciate all the new subscribers, but don't stop subscribing now because we're trying to get to 13K for Bam Adebayo. The question is, though, as we talk about a Herro potential move, is a Tyler Herro trade that could happen this offseason adding to this Heat roster, or is it just to shed salary? Because Herro's $30 million contract, at least this season, with it being 32 and 33, 34 over the next couple seasons, is a little detrimental to Miami. Because is he worth that? I don't know. And are the Heat able to build a roster around Jimmy and Bam if Herro's getting paid that? I'm not so sure. If you had to ask me, it is more likely that a Tyler Herro trade, at least to this point, is more likely to shed salary to free up money to sign DeMar DeRozan than it is to actually improve someone. And what do I mean by that? Like, trading Herro to try to get a Trae Young, trading Herro to try to get a Lauri Markkanen. Like, I don't know if those trades are more likely than a salary dumping move to where they get a pick back and just free up more money to sign DeMar DeRozan. It's unfortunate because I like Herro. I've wanted him to succeed, but it just is abundantly clear that this team isn't going to be able to take the steps it needs to take to win an NBA title when Herro's your 3rd highest paid player. It's just as simple as that. And I do want to push back on the people out there that believe Herro's value isn't a first-round pick. He is, and I won't take anything less than that. Us Heat fans, I think, actually undervalue Tyler Herro to a point. Do I think he could win a title as a third guy? No, but I think he has more value than Heat fans sometimes place on him because he's 25 years old, a little bit younger, and you simply aren't finding sub-25-year-olds who have had 3 years of averaging 20 points or more in the NBA. Like, that's just the case, and he's been able to shoot really efficient from three in most of his career. With that being said, though, the experiment is over. I do think he can get a first-round pick in return, and I believe if I was Miami, and I said this to producer Smitty, even though I want and am okay with moving off of Herro, I would rather run it back than trade Tyler Herro away for peanuts. If you're not getting a first-round pick for Tyler, keep him. Like I said, you're not finding that many 25 years and older or younger guys averaging 20 points per game consistently. You simply don't find that. So I'm not dealing him away for nothing. I'm getting a first-round pick at bare minimum or using his contract to acquire a bigger player. That's all I'm doing. Or acquire a player on the same tier as him, like a maybe Kyle Kuzma deal that we talked about yesterday. Kind of thoughts on the matter. More thoughts on the Miami Heat over on my Twitter at Nic_Rohloff. Make sure you go give me a follow. I'm tweeting about the Heat on a daily basis. And if any move actually does happen with Miami, we're going to have the news over there first before we come over and make a video. So go give me a follow. I'll see you with another video tomorrow. Go Heat.